Finally, I'm live. All right, a little bit of an adventure getting logged in. I'll need you to go there to get today's activities, and to become an instrumental ukulele player. This series is designed primarily to get you reading tablature and to get you playing at a higher level than most ukulele players play at, and follow a program that kind of starts off easy and gets harder and harder and harder until you're legit, and then you go off into the distance, and people think you're something. People know you're something already, but they'll really think you're something after being awesome at this. All right, so I got the link posted. I'm going to go double check that it's working correctly, and hopefully somebody who wanders in will tell me that the sound is good. There's that. Okay, so I'm going to the right place. You'll notice in my cover page that I did not have a ukulele in my hand because it's in the other room. Aloha, sound is good. Good, it's good. All right. Hey guys, those of you in the chat box, I've got to run grab a ukulele in the other room. I totally forgot it. And so it turns out it's going to be helpful for today's lesson. So you guys settle in. If anybody walks in and is like, what am I looking at? Say he went to tell him, what should we tell him? Tell him I'm out fighting a dragon. I'll be right back. I'm back. Yes, I'm wearing shorts. I know, whatever. Don't make fun of me. Let's see who's managed to get in here. Linda's in, Melissa's in, Nancy's in. Nancy is back. It's good to have you back, Nancy. Vic is here. Donna's here. All right, 12:06. Want to get started? We have, here's my plan going forward for those of you guys who've been around. Number one, we're going to restart the whole series as I do every 6 weeks. To get you the total beginner series. And so we will be playing Frère, Jacques today, talking about all of the basic stuff. In addition to that, from now on, we're going to have 2 songs a week from book 2. Okay, so After the Ball and Alouette are the 2 that we have here. And so I'm going to go relatively quickly to get all 3 songs in today. And we'll be working on song After the Ball and Alouette all week, along with we will be talking about circle of fifths. We'll be talking about the Make a Better Bar worksheet, all of that stuff as we go along. And hopefully those of you guys that are on the second round or third round of this, not only are you going to just be reviewing the stuff that you've been working on in the past, but also sort of creating a more what am I trying to say? More comprehensive understanding of everything that we do. And everything that we work on is partly to make you a better player, but also to make you a better musician so that you actually understand why all this stuff goes together. And then ultimately your job is to then share this information with the next person. And so I need you, if everything I say makes sense to you, then you're thinking about, all right, that's the way he taught it. I wonder how I would teach it. And especially those of you guys that are maybe you're the only ukulele player in your town, or you're the only one in your neighborhood, or you're the only one in your family, or whatever. You may have the burden at some point of sharing what you know with other people, and I want you to have those skills as well. So I'm not at all protective of the information that I have on the website. I want you to use it for your benefit. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Frère, Jacques and the basics of how I get everybody started on ukulele. Number one, you got a ukulele. That's exciting. Okay, so it comes in 3 sizes: soprano, concert, and tenor. Most adults with this type of sort of regular, typical size hand should be playing a tenor. If you have short fingers or small hands, you should be playing a concert. And if you have very small hands, then a soprano. But soprano is really not something that I recommend for most adults to be playing. I do sell those to kids, and we use those in workshops as loaners because they're easy to carry around. But the little soprano and ukuleles are probably not going to long-term be what you want to have. You want to have a tenor probably if you're grown up. Next is how you hold the thing. Okay, so I always tell people, hold it like you love it. Okay, and this comes over your left hand. Lefties, there's a whole story behind why I still encourage lefties to play right-handed. I've had a handful of lefties learn to play this way. The problem is the sheet music is always going to be set up for right-handed players, so you might as well just get here. You have as a left-handed player, you have a slight advantage in the beginning because your strong hand is the hand we work on first, and so in the beginning, lefties have a slight advantage into learning this, to learning to play right-handed. That advantage goes away when we then switch to what we need to do with your right hand, and then of course that's your weaker or less wise of the 2 hands, and then we're all equal. But we have to teach both hands things to do. I did work with a left-hand activist, for lack of a better word. She was awesome, and she went through all of my teaching materials and felt like the big difference here is that the chord charts, my brain is set up in such a way that it'd be better if they were the mirror image of, which I can do with my software. It's not a problem creating those. The problem is nobody else creates those. And so there's some level of, hey, you probably just need to learn how to read the right-handed material, rather than me being your left-handed resource and then not having any other resources. So it's the tablature is identical whether you're left-handed or right-handed. So that's the left-handed discussion. So you're holding this here. This is over my left shoulder. This is about a somewhere between 45 and 60 degree angle is where you want your neck. You do not want the neck flat. Okay, that's the one thing we don't want you to have that going on. I'm getting my 900th call asking me if I'm going to vote or not. Next is your right. The correct left hand posture is a rule. There's absolutely a rule. But this is your thumb. Pad goes on the back of the neck like this. Comes out right here. It's going to slide up and down on the fat part of your neck on the pad itself. Okay. So what I don't want you to do, I don't want to see you doing this kind of thing, right? Which is going to be normal in the beginning. I don't want to see this type of thing where your thumb wraps up over the top. That's not good. And I also don't want, I've actually have little kids will actually have their thumb drop down underneath here. And the reason they do that is that then that feels very secure to have the neck inside their palm, and they'll play like this. But we can't have that because it creates a problem with your fingers. The only correct way to hold your ukulele, and this will never change no matter how many YouTube videos tell you opposite. Your thumb goes on the back of the neck. There's nowhere else it should ever be, and that allows or requires then your fingers to come around, make a nice C shape. You see how there's a nice C shape there, and the points of your fingers are coming right down on top of that fretboard, and that is the correct posture. We need these fingers to come down basically vertical against the fretboard, and in order to get decent posture of whatever else we need to do. So your thumb is critical to all this. If you get your thumb right, everything else will work out just fine. And so your thumb's going to ride up and down there. Your thumb will hang out wherever your middle finger is on the front of the fretboard. Your thumb is hanging out behind your middle finger. one little teaching tool. Those of you guys have been around a while and you're like, oh gosh, I might have to teach my nephew, or I might have to teach my next door neighbor, or I might have to teach the girls down at the bridge club. If you can get them to hold this thing correctly and put their thumb in the correct position, so much other tragic situations are going to resolve themselves before they even show up. When I have trouble, this is somebody who's been playing a little while, their thumb is up here, they're holding it down here, they're doing this weird sort of complicated thing with their fingers, they're getting terrible tone, and this is really hard to fix once they've started doing this. And so get your thumb correct, get your posture correct, and you'll be in good shape. Now, most of the time when we're going into an instrumental approach to this instrument, which is less singing and more playing of the ukulele, it's a really wise idea to get a button put on the end of your ukulele and to wear a strap. I don't do it when I teach because I'm so busy flipping all around and giving examples that it gets in my way. But when I play, I use a strap, and that way the ukulele doesn't run off on you, and it stays in that position. You can stand up, you can sit down, the whole thing works out great. So that's your posture that you want to be. Next thing, let's talk about tuning. You should own, if it didn't come with your ukulele, you need to go to Amazon and buy one, or call me up and I'll buy one, or I'll send you one, and they're $18. This is the one you want. It's called a Snark. It's called Super Tight HZ. I don't think that it's going to focus correctly. Super Tight HZ chromatic tuner, and this will work on all instruments, and it'll work in all situations. This is the one you want. It's got a high definition screen. It's got a super duper computer in it. They do not pay me. They don't care that I exist on this planet. I'm just telling you, I've used all the other tuners. They're all not as good as this one. And for 18 bucks, this is the way to go. I would probably rather leave my house without a ukulele than without one of these. I've got two of them sitting here on the desk on purpose. Okay. So that's the one you want. The one that came with your ukulele is a cheap one that's fine. It'll get you close. It'll work for now. But when it breaks, and it will break, get a new one and get a Snark. Next thing, how these work is you clip them on the end. Okay. Turn it on. It's just a single on button. And then I pluck the string. The top string here, this is your fourth string. I want that to say G, George. Next one down is C. I need it to say Clooney, 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 Clooney. Next one down is E, Eats. And next one down is A, Apples. George, Clooney, Eats, Apples, G, C, E, A. Yeah, those of you who've been around a while, you are under the assumption that people know who George Clooney is. George Clooney is not famous anymore, and so if you're teaching little kids, or frankly even 20-year-olds, a lot of them don't know who George Clooney is, and so we need to bring George back. He's the solution to awesome ukulele. George, G, C, Clooney, E, Eats, Apples, A. Okay. So double check your ukulele that you sound about the same as me. Here's the G string. Here's the C string. Here's the E string. And here's the A string. Okay. One of the downloads before you start playing ukulele on the website, you have a thing called relative tuning. You'll notice if you hold the top string down at the second fret, it sounds the same as the bottom string. If it doesn't, you've made a mistake somewhere along tuning. Okay. The next one, fourth fret on the third string, sounds the same as the string below it. And then finally, the fifth fret of the second string sounds the same as the one below it. Okay. So all of those things should be where you're relatively tuned. Okay. All right. So biggest takeaway from day one when I'm teaching here face-to-face and also here on YouTube, that you got to be able to hold the ukulele correctly, and that involves your thumb. Okay. Second thing, you have to be able to have it in tune. And I recommend that, we all have the phone. We all drank the Kool-Aid. Thank you, Apple. You can download a tuner onto that. They're pretty good. They if a dog barks down the street, it throws them off. But for the most part, if it's relatively quiet, they'll get it close. So you ought to have one on your phone. You also need your clip-on tuner, and you want to have the best clip-on tuner, in my opinion. Okay. Now, You've got your tuner, you've got your tuned up, you're in proper position, it's time to start playing. What we need to do first is think about our individual strings. Now, when you meet most ukulele teachers, they're going to teach you to sing and strum, which means holding this chord and strumming all four chords at once. Now, we don't start there because that's a crazy place to start. What we're going to start on is playing melody. Okay, and so we're only going to use this first string. The strings are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. That won't play a huge role in your life. Hey Q, welcome in. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're only going to play this first song. We're only going to use string 1, and we're going to plug it with our thumb. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to number our frets. Fret number 1, 2, 3, 4. Something cool happens at fret 5. You have a dot on fret 5. Sometimes they'll put the dots on the side of the ukulele fretboard. Mine are here, 5 and 7. Okay, so you have a dot on 5. You have a dot on 7. You're gonna have a dot down here on 10. There's my dot. Okay, and yours will probably be in front. And you also have a dot on 12. I have a fancy dot on here that doesn't mean anything, but I also have a dot on the side here at 12. So mine are at 5, 7, 10, and 12. That's standard. That's where most ukuleles put them on there, and that's where you're going to want to play from. Well, you're not going to play from. You're not going to play from all the frets, but 5, 7, 10, and 12 are ones you want to kind of remember that's where they are. It'll help you guide your fingers around. Once in a while, they'll put a dot on 3, which is not helpful. And sometimes, because the ukulele was made by a guitar person, there'll be a dot on 9 instead of 10, and that's really unhelpful. Guitar, they put them on 3, 5, 7, and 9 because it looks pretty. On ukulele, we actually put them in the correct spots. 5, 7, 10, and 12, or music theory-wise, is where they should be. Hey, Lynn, welcome in. All right, so now, first song. We're going to pluck that first string open, and I need you to open up your Frère Jacques piece of sheet music because we're going to learn to read tablature. Frère Jacques. So on your piece of music, you should have a piece says Frère Jacques on the top, says some copyright stuff up there. Baritone chord way up in the upper left-hand corner. You should ignore that. That's for baritone players. Then it says quarter note equals 80. That tells you that tells the computer how fast to play the piece of music. For you, you can kind of ignore it for right now. There's a treble clef underneath there. Musical skill. When you're not looking at a treble clef and you have a pencil in your hand, try to draw one. Every time you fill out your grocery list, try to draw a treble clef on there until you can draw one convincingly each time. Then you're a musician because that's required of all of us. After that, I'm going to sneeze. Yeah, we have all these fires up north, and I have been sneezing and sneezing and sneezing from the smoke in the air. Sorry. The little hashtags after those of you with prior musical knowledge know those as sharps. Those were very important when you took other instruments. On this instrument, we're going to ignore those entirely. Next thing after that is 4/4. That means there's going to be 4 beats in every measure, and a measure is the vertical lines in your paper. So there'll be 4 beats in each of those, and we'll work on that in a little bit. And then after that, you see your dots, your usual musical dots. We're not going to pay much attention to those, at least right initially. What we're going to pay attention to is right down below there, underneath the first set of lyrics, it says ukulele melody. And there's 4 lines. Those 4 lines are your 4 strings, okay? The weird part is the bottom string on your ukulele is the top string on the ukulele melody line, or the tablature. And what you're going to do in order to make sure you're doing the right thing, you're going to hold the ukulele up to your sheet music like this, and now it's the same, okay? Which puts your bottom string on the top, and that's why tablature is written the way it is. It's written upside down so that you could hold your instrument up to it and try to figure out what you're doing here. And you'll only need to do that for a couple weeks, and then that part will go away. But in the beginning, it's super annoying that the top string is your bottom string. The top line is your bottom string. Okay, so the first thing it says is 0, and then 0 on that first string. So let's play that. And then it says a 2. Use your middle finger on the 2. Pluck that. Then you put a pinky on 4, and we'll play that. And then it says 0, so play it 0. Then it says 0, 2, 4, 0 again. We'll play that a million times. 0, 2, 4, 0 open, middle, pinky, open, O, 2, 4, O, open, middle, pinky, open. Now, if you're not getting a good sound, possibly, you got to press a little harder, okay? Or you might be coming down on top of the metal bar. We don't want that. Come down right behind the metal bar in the little wooden area, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So when we're on fret 2, right there. When we're on fret 4, we play it right there. Okay, open, middle, pinky, open, 0, 2, 4, 0. Okay, next line, measures 3 and 4. Notice each measure has a little teeny tiny number at the upper left-hand side of the measure. It says measure 3, measure 4. Our next notes are 4, 5, 7. So we're going to go down to 4, put our index finger on 4, middle on 5, and pinky on 7. Let's do that for a while. 4, 5, 7. 4, 5, 7. 4, 5, 7. If you end up teaching a little kid, it's not uncommon for them to be confused, and they'll try to do 4, 5, 7. Okay, and so you got to help them out with that when that happens. 4, 5, 7. 4, 5, 7. Next line, 5 and 6 is 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, 0. So start with your ring finger, and I wrote in the lyrics up there which finger to use. So in measure 5, it starts with a ring, and then a pinky on 9, and then a ring on 7, and then a middle on 5, index on 4, and open 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, 0. Okay, now we're almost done with the song. The next line is 0, 0, 0, but it's exciting. You get to use string number 2 here. Okay, so we're going to go do the first string open, and then the second string open, and then the first string open. First string, second string, first string. Now we're going to play the whole song. We're going to go slow. We'll stop between the changes. So start down here. We're going to be using middle and pinky. 1, 2, 3, 4. Open, middle, pinky, open, open, middle, pinky, open. Now we're going to slide up to 4, 5, 7. Get your index finger on first. 4, 5, 7. Again. 4, 5, 7. Now we're going to slide even further up. I'm going to put our ring finger on 7. 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, 0, 5, 4, 0. Again. Ring, pinky, ring, middle, index, open. And then the last piece is first string, second string, first string, second string, first string. Q says, can we do 7, 9, 7, 5 again? Absolutely. That's the hard part of the song. So go to measure 5, your ring on 7, pinky on 9, back to ring on 7, middle on 5, index on 4, and then open. Let's do it a few times. 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, 0. 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, 0. One more time. Ring on 7, pinky on 9, ring on 7, middle on 5, index on 4, and then open. Now, guys, one of the reasons you show up, when you will go home and you'll work on this, but ultimately your goal is to be able to play at the speed with me. And that's much, much more difficult in the beginning than it will be down the road. But in the beginning, you've got a lot of stuff going on. You're looking at the paper, it says a 0. You're like, okay, what string is that? Okay, and then there's this, and does it involve this, any fingers? Okay, no fingers over here. Okay, I play a 0. And that's a lot of thinking that's got to go on as you're learning how to do this. After you've been playing a while, it's just a 0. You don't really think about it anymore. Then you got a 2. I don't spend a ton of near as much mental energy trying to figure out what the next thing is I'm supposed to do as I did in the beginning. And the same thing will happen with you. In the beginning, super overwhelming. As we move through the program, it gets where your noggin is able to calculate this stuff a lot more quickly because you've seen it a few times. All right, we're going to play the whole song, top to bottom. When we get to the 797540 bit in measures 5 and 6, for those of you with prior musical experience or those of you who know this song, we're going to play that at half speed. Okay, so we're going to treat those eighth notes as if they're quarter notes. Okay, play at my speed, not the speed in your head. 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 2, 4, 0, 0, 2, 4, 0, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, 0, 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, 0. First string, second string, first string, first string, second string, first string. Okay. Now, theoretically, if we were in class, then I'd be double checking how your fingering is going. As long as you're getting it close, that's what matters. And it's less about which fingers that you use than that you're hitting the right fret numbers. I just don't want you to use one finger for everything because you'll cut your finger open on the string. Okay. Let me play for you what I want you to be able to come in tomorrow being able to play. If you were in my class here locally, it would be next week. Okay, but tomorrow is we'll follow up on this, and certainly by Friday, I'd like you to be able to play it this way. Let me play it for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's your goal. 797-540. Not only is it the hard part, but it's also supposed to be twice as fast as we've been playing it. So it's really the hard part on this song. And I'm always pleased when I do this because about 3/4 of the time when I play that, I blow that section. So trying to be like, oh, here's how you should do it, and then I blow it. So just be aware you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Perfectly fine. The takeaway that I'm needing for you to get is that you understand that top string on here is your bottom string on your ukulele. And then whatever the number is, that's which fret you hold down over here, and then you pluck the correct string. It will get more complex as we go along, but getting that baseline ability to read tablature is so critically important that there is no song that I teach, none, that is more important than Frère, Jacques. I teach this song on every single instrument I play. I teach it I've taught it to thousands of people at this point because it's that important to get your tablature reading in correctly and well early on. Once you build that foundation, once your brain starts figuring out, oh, that top string is my bottom string, then you'll be able to play all of the fretted instruments: guitar, mandolin, banjo, ukulele, baritone ukulele, balalaika. They're all tablatures written the same way, and it's all fabulous. And once you learn how to read tablature, you can play all those other instruments, no problem. Okay. I mean, to play any instrument well, it'll take you a little bit longer than that to do that, but you will be able to knock out a tune on them. Other piece of information on this piece of music is it's super critical. You have an A chord. Look up above. Every single measure has an A with a little grid underneath it. That little grid is like I'm holding the fretboard up like this. You have your 4 lines going down. And for some reason, they decided tablature would be written this way and chords would be written this way. It's a little annoying at first because if you're spatially challenged at all, it's like, God, what in the heck is going on? But it's like I'm holding the ukulele up like this, and then there's 2 dots. There's a dot here and a dot here. Okay, so the first dot is 1st fret, 3rd string, and your other dot is on 2nd fret, 4th string. Okay, so that's what this shape looks like. Okay, and so when I hold my ukulele sideways, index middle, Okay? You're going to then put it in proper position. Notice my thumb is hanging out right behind where my middle finger is, not without me thinking about it, right? It's just, okay, that's where it goes. And now we're going to strum 4 beats in each measure. This is something that we do from day 1 until you die. Is you're going to take your thumb, strum it down. Basically, where the body and the neck come together. That's where I want you to strum. I have to sneeze again. I apologize. Goodness, thank God I'm all by myself here. Otherwise, I would be getting arrested. Your thumb's going to come down where the body and the neck come together. That's where you want to strum. If you end up holding your ukulele over here, it's fine. Okay. And let's do 4 beats for every measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Frère Jacques, Frère Jacques, dormez-vous, strum, dormez-vous, strum. Sonnez les matines, sonnez les matines, ding, ding, dong, ding. Let's do it again. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Brother John, Brother John. Morning bells are ringing, morning bells are ringing, ding, ding, dong, ding, ding, dong. Don't take your cord off until the ukulele is finished ringing. Now my nose has gotten loose on me. I apologize. I'm a medical mystery here today. All right. Now, if you're brand new, or if you're still like in that situation where you're like, gosh, I'm struggling just a little bit, or I'm not struggling at all, I'm just learning how Gary would teach it, I send all of my in-person students home after that. I need them to be able to play through the melody. I need them to be able to strum the A chord, and then I need them to go home and practice. Okay, and that's the same for you. If you are newer, getting this song where you can strum it and sing it. Okay, if you hate singing, that's fine. Hum it, right? I'm a terrible singer. I sing just enough to get to know whether I'm strumming well or not. And then we will also then play the melody. So tomorrow when we come in, we're going to play the chords, we're going to play the melody, we're going to see how you're doing. Okay, 797-540. If you spent the whole evening working on that one section, that would make a lot of sense. Now, I think I have nothing else to say about Frère Jacques. We sang it and strummed it. We also played it melodically without singing and strumming, and that's all that I want you to get out of this page. Now, for those of you guys who've been around a while, okay, I am adding in 2 songs each week from book 2. So this will give you a chance, if you're like, yep, totally understand. Frère Jacques is presenting me with no major challenge. I'd like to study up on some of this other stuff. I want you to grab After the Ball and Alouette. And if you're brand new, don't do this part. This is for you next time we come around. If you have been around a while and you're like, I think I'm doing fine, but I still need a little bit more work. This is what I want you to work on. We're going to have 2 songs from book 2 each day. We'll have 2 for the week, basically. That way you have 2 songs that are a little bit stretch. And I want to do After the Ball first, if I can find it in my book here. After the Ball. What we want to do here is just continue to build on those skills that we were talking about in previous. Okay, so After the Ball, Introduction to Ukulele. I'm looking at an April 6th edition. I hope that's the same as your edition. Let me double check that you and I are working from the same paper. Yeah. All right. So After the Ball was a smash wild #1 hit in 1891. Crazy important song, sold millions of copies of the sheet music. And so this is, you're not just playing a song because Gary likes the song, you're playing a song because it's the hits. Okay. And what we want to do, let's run through the 3 ways we play at this level. Okay, so this is the book 2 level. First thing, F chord. Okay, it goes directly into B flat. Remember, I love for you to play a bar chord with your A shape in front. But if you only want to hold down 2 strings and then put the A shape in front, okay. Okay, down at measure 7, you're going to have a C chord. Measure 9, you're going to have that G minor. Okay, measure 11, you're going to have a D7. And that may be all of the chords that we have. Let me double check. Oh, you have a real D chord in measure 21. That's index, middle, ring. You have a G7 at 23, index, middle, ring. Okay. And then you have the hard D7 at 28, bar on 2, middle finger on 3. And that's all your chords. Okay, so there's quite a number of chords. Let's go through and play them. I'm gonna sing, so close your ears. How many beats per measure? That's always your first thought. You got 3 per measure. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. After the ball is over. 2, 3. After the break of 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. After the dancers leaving, after the stars are gone. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Many a heart is aching. 2, 3. Yeah, there's that D chord I put. If you could read them all. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Many the hopes that have vanished after the ball. 2, 3. And then you're going to immediately turn around and go back. You're not going to spend a linger at measure 1. You're going to go back and play it a second time. When you come in the last time, second time through, you skip measure 31 and go to 32. After the ball, 2, 3, finish. Okay, so as you are singing, now you can tell why I don't sing. I fall asleep on these chords. I'm like, blah, I'm just busy counting out my days. Be aware that is a legitimate, that's how most people play ukulele. So most people would take this as, after the ball is over, right? So they're going to mostly do that. And you should practice that way, because if you go to the strum along in your neighborhood, that's how they're going to be playing, okay? And it's perfectly fine, totally legitimate way to play the ukulele. Next, I'd like to run through the melody. That is your ukulele melody line. That's exactly when you start with Frère, Jacques, where most of it's on 1 string, and you move to this, mostly we're going to be down here 1s, 2s, and 3s. So that's first position. Index on 1, middle finger on 2, ring finger on 3. We do have some 5s that show up, so you're going to use your pinky to go grab those. And that's it. That's the whole song. Okay, so from the top, 1, just the melody, please. 1, 2, 3. 3, 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 0, 2, 3, 0, 3, 0, 1, 2, 0, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 5, 1, 0, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 0, 3, 0, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 0, 3, 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 0, 2, 3, 2, 2, 0, 5, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 3, 3, 3, 3, 0, 1, 0, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then you start again. Okay, so that turnaround is real fast there. Da, 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 da. You're gonna play it a second time. In the original sheet music, very typical. It was 1890, so Tin Pan Alley was sort of still kind of becoming a thing. It was verse, this chorus, verse, same chorus, verse, same chorus, verse, same chorus, right? And so the verses are stupid, but the chorus is just lovely, right? Story is a guy ends up uncle that ends up ending up being a bachelor his whole life because he went to the ball and his honey broke his heart because he saw her kissing another girl at the ball, or he saw her kissing another boy at the ball, and he was devastated and he never married because of that. That turns out that the boy was the girl's brother and he ended up living his life in sadness and alone because he misunderstood that what that kiss was about. So that's the tearjerker side of this. Don't, whatever. But hugely popular song and hugely popular writer Charles Harris was really instrumental, and I mean he wrote I don't know, hundreds of songs and lots of tearjerkers, and very well-known writer at the time. So you have your melody, you have your chords, okay, and you guys know what comes next, and this will be your homework for the night if you are able to knock out Frère Jacques with no trouble. If you're able to teach somebody else Frère Jacques with no trouble, then you would want to be talking about getting this chord melody piece together, the tough uke. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hit the 2, F chord. Decorative notes. Measure 5. Rest stroke there. Hit the 2. All those zeros. 1. G minor. D7. G minor. 3. Opens with the 0. F with your pinky. 1, 2, 3. You got a bar chord with your 5, and then a bar chord with your 3, and then a G7. Measure 27 has an F. Bar chord. Back and play it again. Let's do that very quickly, and then we'll be set for our day. I'm going to switch now to a claw position. You probably should too. It's something you want to be able to play with your thumb, of course, but you also are going to have to learn to play with your claw. It won't sound quite as lush and beautiful, but it'll actually be a skill that allows you to play the high level material. Your thumb is great. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Again, lots of different ways to play everything, but in order to play the highest level material, you got to get control of your claw, and this is a great song to practice that. 1, 2, 3. second ending. Bar on 5, pinky on 8. Okay, or. Okay, those are all your choices there. So, those of you who are newer, Frère, Jacques, get where you can play that thing without really thinking about it, right? And that's very easy to say and very hard to do. I happen to have it memorized because I've taught it thousands of times, and I do think you want to probably have that piece memorized because at some point you're going to want to share ukulele, and that's the song I do it with. Okay, that's how I get people up to speed reading tablature, and learning how music works with the 4-beat strum and all that. After the ball, very typical of the book 2 type stuff that I love to work on. Public domain song, kind of schmaltzy a little bit, not too many chords, but the chords that are really right and they sound absolutely beautiful in that song. And a little bit of history, like a song with a little road weary. And you know, if this is 5 million copies of sheet music, that's a wildly popular song in 1891. And so playing a decent song, it sounds beautiful on the ukulele. You have lots of choices of how to pull it off, and some people actually still know this song, which is funny. But you once in a while you run into somebody who knows it, and they're just like, "Yes, I definitely want to play that song." So there's that. Okay, and not unimportant. Lynn says, "Hey, I was happy to play the melody after the ball. I'm busy playing the tough uke. If that's too much for you at that speed at this time in today, jump up, grab the melody, just play along with me with the melody. It absolutely is an essential part of being able to play. And so I will mention we do have orchestra tonight, and I always encourage you guys, even if you're brand new, to come to that because it makes you bulletproof. That's what happens on Monday nights. Our job is to get you to play with me no matter what, and you're mostly going to play chords or you're mostly going to play melody. You're not highly unlikely to be playing tough uke. A few of the real advanced players do that, but it's not at all the expectations that you're going to play chords and then you play melody and you're going to play it in time with me, and you're going to get where you don't care about mistakes because you can't care about mistakes. You just keep forging on ahead, and that's what we're working on on Monday nights. Now you do have to be a member of the website, Jolly Roger Ukulele, to participate in the Monday night thing. But I will tell you, all the stuff I'm doing, okay, harmonica, guitar, intro to ukulele, intro to baritone, all this stuff, the one thing that will make you like get to that next level where you can play, like you can really play, it's orchestra. And that's where we throw you in with the advanced players and the beginning players and everybody. We cannot care about mistakes. You got to let them go. That's a very hard thing when you start music and you're a newer player. You make a mistake and you're like, shoot, and you go. And at home you go back and fix it, which is what you're not supposed to do, but you do it anyway. I do it too. What we need you to be able to do is, this song's not stopping because I messed up. We got to keep going. And it's the same thing as when you're playing tennis or golf. When you hit a bad shot, you got to let it go. You got to let it be in the past, and you got to move on. And so there's that. Now let's chat very quickly and make sure. Let's see. Nancy says, Gary, when you say use claw, is that all fingers or just 1, 2, 3, whichever string is played? So great question, Nancy. When I'm using claw, sometimes I'm using all 4. So thumb, index, middle, ring. I'm trying to get good lighting on the strings. Okay. Sometimes I'm doing that. In this case, I was using that because there's lots of notes on the 4th string. Sometimes I'm just using thumb, index, middle. Occasionally I'll just be using these 2. Okay. And it depends on the song, and it depends on the situation, how many strings I'm going to feel like I need to hit. Don't get the idea that I always assign thumb, index, middle, ring onto strings 4, 3, 2, and 1, because that's not what I do. Most of the time when I'm in claw, honestly, I'm on this claw, just these 3, and not even using my ring finger, because I have a really solid control over these 3 fingers, and I like my thumb being on this C string. But sometimes I'll do this. There's not a right answer to your question. The right answer is sometimes yes, sometimes no, I think is what the correct answer to the question. But yeah, so when I'm using, in this case, because I've got lots of situations where I'm going to need to play all 4 strings, I'm going ahead and using all 4 fingers. But I wouldn't be surprised if I go back through and look at the replay of this, that on sometimes I would slide down and just play these 3 fingers, if music calls for it. And I'll be surprised if I also found myself clicking my thumb down just to play the certain melody notes that are by themselves. I don't want to do that. I really do want to maintain my claw position. And that's, again, depending on the situation in the song and what the notes are before it and after whatever I happen to be playing will determine how much of my claw I use each time. Let's see. I hope that answers your question, Nancy. Lynn, somewhere last week I jammed my thumb and the chords are a little ouchy and it seems to still do the melody. Okay. I did get your email, Lynn. I didn't get a chance to write you back. Sorry you bummed out your thumb. As musicians, you have to tell people you're like a doctor. You can't do anything. Your hands are too valuable. So stop cleaning the house. Stop doing the dishes. Stop. Really, the only thing you're allowed to eat dinner that somebody else has made and brought to you and play music. That's it. So you just need to let your family know you're officially unable to use your hands for manual labor, and that'll go well. I think they'll understand that, and they'll be like, oh, okay, well, we'll start doing the work, and you can play music. You can be our musician. Okay. Valerie says my grandma had her. Yes, there is a comic version out there, which is exactly that one about this girl. She goes home and takes out her glass eye and all false teeth and all this stuff, and it's very popular, Valerie. So I noticed it's actually on the Wikipedia page for this song. So if you want to go find your grandma's words, I bet you anything that's the version she was saying. Yeah, such a popular song. You know that there's going to be parody versions out there, and so yeah, your grandma was obviously singing that parody version of it. And yeah, go check the Wikipedia page out. I bet you those are your grandmother's words that she was singing. Yeah, they are funny. Let's see. I'm going to have to ask Mom and my uncle. Yeah, go check it out. I'll bet you the version on Wikipedia is the version that she was singing. Linda, claw is harder for me than thumb, but I'm trying it out. Yeah, claw is much harder. When you go watch a classical guitar player, they don't do a ton of thumb, they do a ton of this. Well, that's five years of college training, right, to do this. So just know the claw is more difficult, but you do want to do that. Stop geocaching. Stop geocaching. What the heck are you doing out there geocaching? Right? That's super fun. I did that one weekend. It was really fun. Yeah, just check it out with your family and just be like, yeah, I'm they don't ask surgeons to do anything, right? I know a surgeon and he does he plays golf and does all kinds of crazy stuff with it. Like, yeah, dude. All right, guys, go check out the parody version of After the Ball on the Wikipedia page, and there's funny version of it there, and I'll bet that's what she was singing, Valerie, or at least close to it. And then if you're newer, Frère Jacques is your homework. Try to get that up to speed. We'll play it again tomorrow. We will let After the Ball ride it, and we'll pick up Alouette. Okay, and Alouette, we will use a little bit of time to talk about the ukulele circle of fifths. And tomorrow, for those of you who are newer, we'll be strumming in the key of A major. Print that little book out. Remember, if you print that book out, you need to set your printer for double-sided, short edge binding. It won't work if you do anything else. So it's got to be double-sided, short edge binding, and it'll come out like this little book here, and the pages will be correct, and they'll all be in the way they're supposed to be. If you don't print it out like that, if you print it out double-sided, every other page will be upside down. It's a way for you to practice using your printer. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Go out and do good, be safe, practice, keep showing up, subscribe and like, and we'll move on from there. Be safe. Yeah, Nancy's beat me to my own saying. All right, you guys, ending the stream. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here.